So which of these married couples were happy to live apart? The answer is all of them.
That's right, Woody Allen and then wife Mia Farrow, that was of course the wife before he married his daughter, they lived on opposite sides of New York Central Park. Peter Cook and his wife Lynn lived on the same street but in different houses in Hampstead, and Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton lived next door to each other. You're watching The Right Stuff with Russell Kane, Jane Moore and Anton Dubek. A little later in the programme, we're going to find out what you think of touchy-feely fellas. 0207 173 5555 is the number for your calls. First, though, married but happy to live apart. The couples who claim to be all loved up but don't do cohabitation. Are they freaks? Are they a little bit sad? Maybe. Or are they winners when it comes to love? I mean, we all assume living together is kind of the ultimate in a relationship. It's what one does when one finds the perfect partner. You get to spend oodles of time with your lover, share intimacies, support one another. But in reality, many couples just simply occupy the same space. They don't spend quality time with their other half. They're too tired and they aren't that intimate either. Are things better, then, if you live apart? Maybe you make more effort than you do when you meet up. Maybe the sex gets better if you don't share your bed with your partner 365 nights a year. I'd love to live in the same street as my other half rather than under the same roof, but I doubt we'll ever be able to afford it. The other problem is kids. How do they cope when mum and dad live at different addresses but haven't split up or got divorced? Well, Nikki's a mum of 5. She's come all the way from Devon with her husband Malcolm to be with us this morning. Thank you for that. And they've been together 7 years and have tried both living together and living apart. They got married in March, so can I assume you're living together now?
No, definitely not.
No.
All right, let's go through this in order then. So, you met and you were clearly living apart at the time you met, and then you moved in at some point?
At some point, yeah.
And how did that go?
Badly. We moved in together for 8 months and that didn't go too well at all. And then we kind of went our separate ways, split up for a little while. And
She
then...
left.
Yeah, I left.
Tell it as it is. Tell it as it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so you
I
left.
left in a haze of dust.
It's my car, I'm gone.
Yeah, and then we kind of got back together again,
Yeah.
and then we got married and decided, well, you know what, just leave it as it is.
So how far apart do you live away?
About a mile and a half.
Yeah.
Quicker, it's far near enough for her to turn around and say, I've run out of cigarettes, come and get me some.
And how often do you meet up?
Sometimes twice a day.
Yeah, twice a day sometimes, yeah.
And sometimes not for a day or two?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, it depends, yeah. Yeah, not for days.
3 days sometimes.
Yeah, if we're not talking.
Do you have a tempestuous relationship by any chance?
Yes, we do. We argue by text.
Is that... I mean, because I find I am fascinated by it because I think I can see how it works. I really, really can. But I'm intrigued as to why, when you're clearly crazy about each other, why you can't live together and whether it's just... Maybe it's just not given up. Maybe, I don't know why.
It's about ups and downs. We enjoy a lot of great ups and we suffer some great downs, rather than being sort of levelled out and sort of no great ups and no great downs. So, yes, we're tempestuous. And from that point of view, I just need to be able to say, sorry, love, I'm gone.
And how do the kids cope with mum and dad being under different roofs?
Fine, they've always known that. That's all they've known. Daddy's house, mummy's house. Yeah.
And where do they live?
With me, of course, because, you know, he doesn't want to get up in the morning to look after them. So they live with me, and then they'll go over to his house, yeah, and we're going to stay at his house whenever we feel like it. They've got
And
a room at his house.
holidays?
We go together.
We'll go together?
Yeah.
Separate villas.
No, that's the only time we probably stay in the same place.
Do you argue when you go on holiday as soon as you're living in the same house?
I'm sure we'll argue
Honestly.
on the way back.
Yeah, exactly.
You argue
Look, we
more
got
on-
here in one piece.
Do you guys find it strange, or...?
I think relationships have changed so much over the years. You know, I mean, just imagine how many unhappy relationships there were for years and years and years, where people were living together. Just space is an enormous thing in a relationship. Time alone
You say
is
that,
an
Anthony,
enormous
you say
thing
that,
in a
Anthony. You go back
relationship.
50 years, and in your average house, you would have mum, dad, kids, grandpa, granny, possibly another set of grandparents as well, all live together, pulling it. You know, the old shots of the sort of 2 up and 2 downs in the wall.
Yeah,
they were
but
filled with people. There wasn't any
It's
space.
not like that anymore, is it? I mean, for example, 50 years ago, women stayed at home, looked after the house. Women have got careers and they're... The thing about society in the last 20 years, you disagree with me here, but 25 years, women have changed enormously. They've gone and said, right, I've had enough of this, I'm getting my own life, I'm getting a career, this is what I want to do. Men have fundamentally stayed the same. that men are fundamentally a bit rubbish. We have not got the block yet. Women have gone, I've had enough of this, I'm off. And they do their thing. So the dynamic of a relationship has changed enormously.
Would you like to be in a relationship where you lived apart?
I don't know. I've never lived with a woman, a spouse. Apart from your mum.
Apart from your mum.
And probably far too long. But that's another story for another day.
What about you, Jane? Is it something you would?
To me, it makes perfect sense. I just think, I often, whenever I argue with my husband, I always say, right, that's it. I mean, I just...
Moving into a hotel.
Well, no, I just kind of think that women have got more financial independence now. That's the key. So we don't have to stay in a situation where we kind of feel beleaguered. And there is an element in a marriage that you've got children, you're exhausted. And if your husband, you know, probably you don't, Malcolm, I'm sure, but if your husband behaves a bit like a child sometimes as well, you just think, you know, I really don't want this. And I'm always saying to my husband, I would love to have adjoining houses. I wouldn't want to live, I wouldn't want him to live even across the street, but an adjoining house with an interconnecting door is my dream.
Yeah, with a lock on it, on one side, your side.
He did say that to me. He said the trouble is you'd always lock it. And because he's a bit OCD, he's fanatically tidy, and I'm not. So his house could be pristine, just how he likes it. I could live how I like, and the kids come in and out the interconnecting door, and so do we. But we just have separate territory and separate space, exactly as Anton says.
I'm thinking if anybody at home is thinking...